or as a business owner, the service I provide falls short of what I said I will provide, I could face some legal action with the, the negative publicity that will go around it, and of course the compensation I have to pay. It will send some caution to me. I'll be careful how I do. So I think it's a culture Nigerians can take up. However, such cultures don't come cheap. Apart from the fact that it will take time to build first, people have to trust in the legal system. And also, trusting it that justice will be done is one thing. Trusting that justice will be speedily done is another thing. If justice is delayed, yeah, they say justice delay is not justice denied. But in some cases, I mean, you may not even be, have the luxury of time to continue the process. For how long can you even be involved in a legal matter? Remember, the longer it takes, possibly the more it takes protecting victims of accidents. That specific thing is a thematic area for them. We have civil society organizations that deal generally with human rights, and also, and let's give it to them. Quite a number of them have their plate full. They have a lot to do, and we just talked about the resources here. They may not have all the wherewithal to go about it. And this is where also maybe some legal practitioners who can handle some of this matter pro bono could come in also, if we have such people here. But of course, when you say matter is handled pro bono, to the lawyer prosecuting the he would have suffered some cost, even though to the beneficiary of the services pro bono. So it also depends on how many lawyers do we have that are maybe not wealthy enough, maybe wealthy should not be the word, but how do I put it, that are in a place where they can comfortably take up some of these matters pro bono without jeopardizing their law practice, as it were.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. 63-year-old pastor Oluwole Jonathan, shepherd of Christ Apostolic Church, Land of Mercy, has been sentenced to 21 years in prison for defiling a 12-year-old girl. The crime, which occurred 2.5 years ago in Atta, resulted in the victim becoming a mother at age 13. The tragedy began over 1,500 naira needed for a textbook. The victim, identified as Blessing, was standing outside her home when Pastor Jonathan, a trusted neighbor, invited her into his apartment to rest. The apartment also served as his church premises. Blessing recounted the ordeal, stating the pastor convinced her to take a liquid after she complained of a headache. He forced me to take it. After I drank it, I slept off, she whispered. She awoke to find blood in her private part. The pastor then threatened her with death if she told anyone. Her mother discovered the pregnancy months later after a neighbor raised concerns. A hospital confirmed the primary 6 pupil was 5 months pregnant. The mother described the diagnosis as a dagger to my heart. The father, an electrician, reported the matter to the CDA and police. Pastor Jonathan, initially denying the crime, was confirmed as the baby's father by DNA samples. The case was taken up pro bono by the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, in Ogun State. After months of hearings, the High Court in Ilara found Jonathan guilty of defilement in January 2025, sentencing him to 21 years. The family has since relocated to Ifo to escape trauma and stigma. The young mother continues to suffer from strange behavioral patterns. She often strays from home and hears a voice telling her to leave school, forcing her father to enroll her in a tailoring apprenticeship nearby. Really, really sad and disturbing. Let's talk about it. What are your thoughts on this report?
I'm so sorry that this have to happen to an innocent girl. She was the victim of a pedophile. Obviously, the man is a pedophile. For me, that's the title he deserves, other than any other thing people call him. I also think that that child was not probably properly rehabilitated. Because from this thing, it suggests a kind of mental issue. I don't know what the parents and neighbors will say. Maybe they'll see it as something spiritual, but I think it may be spiritual. I don't know, especially since a religious person is involved. But I think they would be better seeking some medical help. Maybe there will be need for rehabilitating that child. Maybe meet a child psychologist or something,
Right.
or a psychiatric home. Where the services can be provided. I'm not so sure what the situation is, but obviously that child is in danger beyond having a child at
Right.
this age. I mean, situations that could make her stray off the house. She could also stray into danger. She could stray into, she can become a victim of, a careless driver or something. Even a place like Ogun State, where common for, sorry to say, ritualists and all that. So having that kind of situation for a child, it should be worrisome. They have taken a step moving out of where they lived before, but I think more should be done in providing help, medical help for the child. Then for the pedophile, I'm glad he has met his Waterloo, as it were. He has been arrested. He has been, we can say justice has been served. He has been sentenced to 21 years imprisonment. In this era of, careless exercise of prerogative of mercy, we just wish that nobody wakes up one day and grant him state pardon and all that, because there's anybody that would want to serve out his term, it's people like this. I mean, if there should be, using local language, if there should be Jara in prison term, this kind of person deserves it, because this is a life that has been altered for good. Look at it now, that child can't go back to school. And even if after some medical help, she's able to go back to school, some years has been lost.
Exactly.
And then a child having a child is not a wonderful thing. That child is going to live with that trauma for the rest of her life. The said child would one day ask question.
Right.
So I'm happy that to some extent justice has been served. I hope the justice will be seen through by the man serving it all through. And I also hope that such other pedophiles around will be apprehended, and until we get the last of them off our street, we shouldn't rest on getting them off. Thanks to FIDA, thanks to the CD, that's the community, the CDC also, that helped in making the arrest possible. Yeah.
Now, for this magnitude of this crime committed, like you earlier mentioned, you talked about how this girl is just a child, primary 6. Some people in primary 6 are usually even 9-year-old, and even though the federal government, the Senate did pass a new law as regards, child rapists, abuse of children, now gives a life imprisonment punishment, now attracts a life imprisonment punishment. Do you think 25 years is enough, especially given the fact that the Minister for Women Affairs was actually calling for the capital punishment on child rape?
Capital punishment, the world is moving away from capital punishment now, and even over the years, those who have gotten capital punishment, who have been sentenced to death, you find that political officers, the governors and the rest of them, the president, who are in a position to sign the death warrant, find it difficult to sign. So eventually, most of those people who even get death sentence don't get killed, but at least they've been put away, they remain on death row, which is fine, But as it is now, the world is moving away from that. 21 years may look like it's not what, or is not up to it for the volume of crime committed. But if that is what the law has prescribed, we can't fault the judicial officers for doing that if they stayed within the law, except we have a proof that that fellow didn't get the right sentence according to the law. Then, 21 years is actually quite a lot of time to spend behind bars. But if you ask me, the most important thing for society is that these people are off the street. And what would happen to him within that 21 years? This is a 63-year-old man. would he even live up to 21 years? But let's even say for younger people, let's say a pedophile, somebody that was jailed maybe when he was 14 and he got 21, he will be coming out at 16, 61 or 60 something. At that age, he may still inflict harm to society.
Right.
So beyond the length of time, which is important, I mean, I'm glad we don't even have a case of being sentenced to 5 years or here, so 21 years. But beyond that length of time, whether 21 is big or small, it's what happens while this character is kept away from society. Is there some reform going on? Is this person going to come out, as a further threat to society, or when he comes out, society would be better off? I mean, he would have had a rethink. I think that's the most important thing for us. Within that 21 years, he's locked away.
Right.
There should be some reform in his mind. So when he eventually comes out, he won't come out to endanger society for further. Then another thing is this: if it were within me, to people like this, within that 21 years, apart from the fact that the reform is going on, there should also be a monitoring to see if they in this reform process. So in case he doesn't fully get the reform he needs, whether it is the fault of society or not, but he comes out not getting the society should keep an eye on him to ensure that he doesn't further endanger people, because when he comes out, he will certainly be in society of people. So if somehow those who keep him, those who monitor him during this period are not satisfied of his conduct after the 21 years, would he be released? Yes, since the law says so. Right. But there should be, a system to monitor him to ensure that he doesn't further endanger society.
Thank you very much. Now let's briefly dive a little bit away from here regard the new bill by Senate to say child rapists are going to, serve a time of life imprisonment. If you weigh that law side by side, do you think it's going to act as a deterrent when you weigh it by Madagascar's law of castration? Madagascar's law for child abuse and child rape is actual castration, right? Do you think that this Madagascar's law being stringent would act as a deterrent more than this our law or this Nigerian new bill that was passed for life imprisonment? Because 21 years, someone reading this report that does the same thing, it's usually a case of, it's so sad that happened to that man. Maybe it's not going to happen to me. 21 years, when we were younger and around that period when I was growing up, you hear people say things like, oh, you don't know me, I am Sanko tested. I don't know if you ever got to hear about that. Like, okay, I have prison experience. I've been to prison. Do you think, when cases like this are handled in this manner, which this was handled, which I'm really glad, that we got victory for this girl at last. I mean, there has been a sentencing, some form of closure, right, to some degree. Not, she doesn't seem fully healed to me, but some form of closure, right? Do you think that at any point, this judgment, if someone that is in their early stage of pedophilia, or they're about to go into it actively, or they're already actively in it, do you think this will be a deterrent, or we should move to more stringent method of stopping this?
For any right-thinking person, if you know what 21 years is, I mean, 21 years of your life is a whole lot. Right. It should serve as a deterrent to that person. Well, the danger of going the extreme way could be in the case of miscarriage of justice. We have seen both in Nigeria and other climes, especially in societies where they have a way of reviewing judgment. We see people who has been sentenced for certain crimes, and over the years it was found. I mean, recently there was one in US or UK that a guy who was sentenced for murder. It was later found out that even the confession he's made was not, it was obtained under duress, so he had to be released. I think some compensation paid, but we are not there yet as a society. So it is for these reasons that one would, be cautious about calling for extreme measure. Now, you can imagine these societies where it has been revealed that, that guy that was jailed for murder, that guy was jailed for so crime, didn't actually commit that crime, even though at the time all the evidence seems to point to that. But as years went by, new evidence showed that this person was innocent. Imagine if that person one of them came out at a very old age, another one already died died in prison, but the court comfort to the family was that their loved one has his name cleared of all wrongdoing, even in death. Now imagine a situation where extreme measures have been taken and that person has been killed, and we find out that it was a miscarriage of justice. You can't undo that. So when you have long-term imprisonment, life imprisonment, when you discover a miscarriage of justice, yes, you may not be able to restore the wasted years, but at least the cold comfort is that the person can pick up his or her life from where he left off. So that's why, for me, I would be careful in calling for extreme measures. Even here in Nigeria, I mean, we had one former Nigerian footballer, I think it was Etimeku also, who was, accused of rape or something like that. I can't remember the story now, but I think the story was that it was eventually, said to be a setup or something like that. So it is for those cases that one would be careful about calling for miscarriage. But if it will have a case of repeated offenders, maybe more stringent measures should be taken, because if the first one was, you were wrongly accused, I mean, we probably don't have just the same person being wrongly accused over time. And like there's an Igbo saying that says that if every time I throw a stone or something, maybe I may not get the right English word, and it falls into the toilet, the question to ask would be, my shot, I mean, every time I fire a shot, it falls into it. The question to ask would be, my shot, were they designed for the toilet or toilet? So if every time you keep claiming that you were wrongly accused, then the question should be, maybe there's something wrong in your behavior. But having said that, this is the reason I think I would be cautious in calling for extreme measures. But the most important thing is to ensure that we get pedophiles and other criminals off our street. We ensure that where infractions has happened, justice is served, so as to offer some kind of reprieve to the victims. There's a way serving of justice. It may not undo the harm that has been done, but it could serve as a cold comfort.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. We go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the rest of our reports. Please stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. Now the rest of our report. Gas explosion on Sunday afternoon tore through the Osimi-Biare market in Orile, Igamu area of Lagos State, leaving a trail of destruction and panic among traders and residents. The fire reportedly started around 2:13 p.m. at a gas retail outlet where several cylinders of different sizes were stored. Within minutes, the flames engulfed nearby shops, destroying goods worth millions of naira. Eyewitnesses said many traders fled in panic as the blaze spread rapidly across the congested market. Fortunately, no lives were lost, though one person sustained a minor hand injury. The director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adeseye, confirmed that fire crews arrived swiftly and contained the inferno before it could spread further. In a related incident, firefighters also responded to a petrol tanker accident along the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway near the Bega Car Depot. The 33,000-litre tanker had collided with several vehicles, spilling its contents. Adeseye said timely intervention by the Ajegunle and Ijegun Egba fire stations prevented a second disaster, adding that the remaining fuel was safely transferred and recovered, and the recovery of the damaged vehicle was on the way. I want to give you a little bit of a background into a situation before we dive into this. So around the place I have my pedicure done. It's a fleet of shops. 2 months ago, I noticed someone got the free store there, and when I went some other time, because you don't usually do your pedicure all the time, when I went there some other time, I noticed that there was a gas, someone that's is refilling, doing the gas refill from the shop. Right. So he has lots of cylinders. People are coming to refill, their gas cylinders. He has the big one he turns over to refill for the people right there. He has a lot of things going on. Now, this is the kicker for me with this report. I have been, it's a salon and a pedicure place. I have had my hair done in that place for maybe 5 years. But the last time I went to get these braids done in that store, I like them because of efficiency, pretty fast and all. Now,
I can tell from how you look.
Thank you. Now, because of how fast you just get all your things done and you leave, they have lots of workers there. When I saw that, it took me, while I was, having my hair done, I think he was trying to refill the gas. There's this, you smell the gas. It hits your nostrils real hard to the point that, you start feeling this burn. And I've been telling myself I'm not going to return to that shop because now being in this line of work, I can side back easily to the incident that happened at Orazi. When you think about that, and the ease at which people can, rent a simple kiosk shop. The one in Orazi was even a container shop where lots of people died. Lots of families lost people. In fact, I know of a family that lost the grandfather, right, and 4 of the grandchildren in that particular incident. The man has he has a son.
That's just about a year or so ago.
Yes, just about a year ago. He has a son, so his son's children were dropped off with him. So they were moving along that place when that happened. The grandfather and the 4 children of that family were lost in that particular incident. When you think about that, what are your thoughts on this report?
I think the first or second story will talk about safety culture.
Right.
We may have restricted that story to that particular organization, but if you look at our society very well, safety culture seems to be a nascent thing. I mean, for many people, it doesn't even exist. They don't have safety culture, both as individuals, in their family, and all that. Ordinarily, things like gas, fuel station, and some other, industries, business, are not supposed to be cited just anywhere. You get a permit. I am going to cite this business here, and the authorities look at it to know if this business is worthy of being cited. I mean, you don't have a gas refilling station where people like near a hair salon. If I'm not mistaken, some of the hairs you guys make, there's a place you introduce naked fire to.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and if anything goes wrong, like you perceiving the smell of the gas, and you can imagine if that naked fire is being used, because I mean, this guy has his shop here fueling gas, this other person has his salon here doing hair, maybe the other person even have a salon there, a restaurant they're cooking, and there is no coordination of activities whatsoever. That okay, while we are this, don't do this. This person can be in his own apartment using his business, that involves using naked fire. And this guy
we use naked fire because for every time you make the hair, they even have to boil hot water on another area.
And this guy is here filling gas, and there is a leakage or an explosion. It attracts. I mean,
split seconds.
The story changes. That if the person survives, and if the person even goes, that's not the end of it. There are probably mothers, fathers that would grieve, that would live the rest of their life grieving. So it's unfortunate we don't have a safety culture in this country. Like this is market. I know Relay Gomo very well. That's a place I can tell with the palm of my hand. I know the Orishon Barre market. I know the Bale Street. I know this place is very well. I know how populated. I mean, populated is an understatement, for lack of a better word. If you know Lagos very well, Lagos is generally populated.
Right.
In places like Orile, the population, there is no saying that it's highly populated. Then you can imagine what the market would be like there. And then you have a gas station there. Thank God if what the Lagos State Fire person said is or emergency rescue person. Thank God Lagos State is even developing a kind of emergency culture now, which is still largely missing in many states. I mean, even here we are, many other states I know, they don't have a fire service system worthy of the name. They don't have an emergency service system worthy of the name emergency. If things like this happen, the victims are just in the hands of God.
Now,
you say it in Nigeria.
What bodies are meant to be put in place to track this small-scale gas sales shops? Because now, when you look at it, are we going to say it is the fault of the owner of the shop or the business that
government? If the government have done what they should do very well, like I talk about regulation, even something as little as a beer parlor, hotels should be regulated. And putting up a building here, the first step before even the foundation is dug is an approval.
Right.
What is this building going to be used for? Is it fit for this place? And even if I tell them I'm going to be molding human beings here and deviate from it to do something else, the approval agency, the monitoring agency should stop me, because you are moving away from what you said that building was going to be used for. So if government do their part very well, we won't have some of these issues. Then specifically with petroleum retail product, there is a body that regulates, that gives approval even for filling stations. The last time there was an accident, I think there was a time at somewhere at Trumodma, you wanted to buy, they are conscious of the PR people, coming around because they were sealing up places. The last time the Orazi fire, typical of the Nigerian system, the River State government made some, blowing hot and cold about it and how to regulate. Unfortunately, after that, now, do these people provide service to society? No doubt about it, they do. But at what cost? The thing about accidents is that they don't happen every day. But if they happened once, even if it is once in a decade, they could be life-changing.
Right.
The traumatic experience may live with everybody involved. Let me give you an example. Growing up in Lagos, there was a fire incident within my neighborhood that consumed 4 to 5 streets. As I talk to you now, I remember back in the day, I did a writing on that fire incident now. Till date, I still remember that. Till date, there are people who never recovered from that. Never mind what they tell you that life normalcy have returns. That's one of the biggest lies we tell in this country. There are some people who, once that incident or accident happens, normalcy never ever returns.
Right.
The guy who lost his father and mother, or like the man, the family who lost 4 of their children and their grandfather, how would normalcy return to that family? Well, how do you define normalcy? So so the government has if also we have building approval and all that, this building was put up for business, for example, a shopping plaza, what kind of business today? You state it clearly. You probably would have been told that, okay, this kind of business cannot go on here. Then if you go against that, there should be some form of sanction. But with that enlightenment, the landlord will probably know that this business cannot be here. But we have such things are missing. The landlord may be driven by greed. If this guy doing this retail business is going to pay good money, he collects the money. He may even be driven by the fact that we don't have a gas retailer here, that I'm going to help the society. Rounds. Unfortunately, we don't have a system that check these things.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you, Chuku, for coming on this show and giving us good insight. We're open for sponsorship of this program, jingles and advert placements, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotion and commercials. You can watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We return on Avo TV channel 205, a Limex TV platform, Ifestec platform, Apple TV, Niger TV and Iroko TV. Connect with us on all our ATN socials. Subscribe, like and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. We're on X on Atlantic TV Net. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ataria Benjamin. Stay with us. Up next is International Tidbits.